Starting. Okay, so it's November 10th, 2017, and we've been chatting. I forgot to do my job and start the broadcast. Sorry, Sharon. But we're here and we're talking about right now we've been talking about our past life and how we deal with it and how we find that it helps us. And Catherine was given a glowing mention of Sharon that she really, really appreciated Sharon. So I just wanted to share that real quick. But let's go ahead and continue. So I think this is a great topic, that to talk about, for a little bit. And I know that you had mentioned that, both of y'all have dealt with some of your past life, childhood, and I know I have. And one of the things that I found, in addition to dealing with, childhood issues and whatnot, relationship issues, anything like that, is that we have to have a relationship with ourselves, as we're going through this process. And I don't know where my book is, but I read Louise Hay's book. Actually, she put it out with Robert Holden, and it's called Life Loves You. If you haven't read it or heard the audio book, I highly recommend it because I really, really enjoyed it. It's really easy reading. It's not that big of a book. Life Loves You. And one of the first things that she talks about is, when you're to look at yourself in the mirror, and say, life loves you, and look at yourself. And when you're doing life loving you, you're looking at yourself and you're telling yourself that, or reminding yourself that life does love you because you're here. You wake up, you're out and about, you talk to people, and it's extremely important to do that because a lot of times we tend, when we're thinking about our past problems, past events, and we might feel bad. And life, she also mentions later in the book, she talks about life happening for you and not to you, because God, or I think we're all into God here, but God or a higher source or whatever put us down here on the earth so that we can learn life lessons and be able to apply it and help other people with it, learn particular lessons just for ourselves, whatever it is. So just reminding us as we're going through things that happen, circumstances, things that happen to us, just to remind ourselves that we love ourselves, that life loves us, that God loves us, that the world loves us, is extremely important. So I really wanted to share that because that book really made a big impact on me, and a lot of the things that they talked about. So I don't know if you've read it, or there's an audio book out, and I think it's out in ebook form also. So however you take in books. Have either one of y'all read that book or heard it?
No, never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a lovely little book. It's real easy to read. I wish I knew where it was. Yeah, it's really, really easy reading. I don't remember how many pages, but it's probably like just like this thick, and the book is not even a full-sized book, size-wise. So you can read like a chapter a day if you want, so that you can kind of like absorb the information they talk about and stuff. And she talks about when we're children, we're more likely to look at ourselves in the mirror, and be pleased with what we see, and be able to see the expressions that we make, and just kind of have a joy with playing with ourselves as we look into the mirror. But there's a point where maybe when we're 5 or 6 that we start recognizing, like, I don't know if I want to look at myself in the mirror. This is not so much fun. And I don't appreciate it anymore. So I think her whole thing is to be able to get you back into appreciating yourself, because each of us, we're like no other person in the world. Like Catherine's like no other person. Lucinda's like no other person. I'm like no other person. So we all have such unique and special events that happen with us. And some of them are a lot alike to what some other people have experienced, but yet our experiences are our own and how we interpret them. So if we want to have if we have experiences and we allow it to take over us versus us taking over that, and own up to it, and use it for the better versus allowing it to victimize us. That was a hard lesson for me. Very hard. How about y'all?
Yeah. That part about that everything you're doing, that conversation we had before the recording started about building new highways in your head, coming to terms with the idea that not doing so was playing the victim. And do you really want to be a victim forever? No. So it seems like that should be a really easy thing. Okay, move on. But that was a difficult step for me. No, I don't want to be the victim. But no, I didn't want to leave either. There was something about playing all that crap in my head that, as silly as it sounds now, I wanted to keep doing it. Maybe because I had done it for so long.
Yeah, you're holding on to it. Versus letting it go.
That whole forgiving thing is difficult. And one of the things, to stay with Louise Hay for a second, if you're not willing, this was relevant to me at some point. If you're not willing to forgive, be willing to be willing. And the universe will help take care of that for you. So that's truly where I started. And is it over? No. Yeah, there are days like today when I think I've forgiven everybody and myself. And then there are days when all one of my family members have to do is say something the wrong way, and it's all back, and I'm all tense, and I want to punch people. And so no, it's not over, but I think it's a process, and maybe it's never over. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking, because you can release pretty much most of the energy, so that you can use it for something better or whatever, because you always want to make the space available for something better, but sometimes things pop up that when you least expect it, and you thought you dealt with it, but it presented itself in a different form. And you're like, oh, I thought I dealt with this. For sure. So any new progress that we've made for the since everybody got together last time? Anything that you want to share, Lucinda or Catherine?
Yeah, well, besides letting go of anger I didn't know I had, I realized I haven't been taking good enough care of myself. So I got myself a new bed, and today should be coming a silk duvet. And I've purchased a number of things like a new kettle, because mine had broken.
Mm-hmm.
And what a nuisance it is using a regular pot to pour water. And I found this lovely one that looks like something you'd find in Spain or Italy. And part of what I'm doing is picking up a few things, because I've been getting a lot more of my recipes done. And now I want to start taking photographs of them.
Mm.
So I found teacups, and one that I found over here, it was sort of a burgundy color, and it has gold and white on it as well. And it's smaller than the normal teacup. And the base of it has got a design cut right in it. And I started getting this Japanese ceremonial green matcha tea. And I thought, well, this is the perfect cup to put with it in the picture. And then I turned it over and looked at it, and it was made in Japan.
Cool. I'm glad that you're starting to put pictures together for your recipe book. So it sounds like you're almost ready to publish it, huh?
Yeah, it's getting there I think it's pretty close. Now, there's some of the recipes that I had made in the past. I need to redo them to check how they go, because a lot of things have changed. The qualities of flours and things like that have all changed. So what worked perfectly in the past won't necessarily work really well now.
Mm-hmm.
And thank heavens they finally stopped killing us off in the building, the thumping, the banging, the crashing, the windows in and out of my apartment. And what I learned from that is how stress affects you.
Mm.
And I had worked on this diet, and I'd taken off 20 pounds at the beginning of the year. And then with all of this happening, I gained it all back.
Uh-oh.
And I hadn't changed anything in the way I was eating or anything. It was just stress. But in the last few months, the stress hasn't been so much. And the weight is starting to come off without changing my diet.
Well, that's
So it's making it really crystal clear how much
stress can do a lot of damage for you, and definitely increasing the weight. I think, what is it called? Cortisol? Huh?
Cortisone.
Cortisone. Yeah.
SOL.
Yeah. And the inflammation in your body and all that. And I know that a lot of stress also can help, it's been people think of excessive stress as being something that kills people at a much younger age than it used to be, because we have so much stress going on with all these electronics and life in general, and speed. So definitely getting better control of your stress is a huge one.
Lucinda, if you believe that your subconscious mind has at least some level of power, I don't know that power is the right word. One of the things, and I am losing weight, one of the things that I try and say every day is whether I've eaten well or eaten poorly, I say, this weight is falling off of me. You know what? Whether that has anything to do with anything or not, I still say it every day. And I believe that it's helping, because I haven't changed my diet all that much. I actually eat fairly well. I don't eat junk food. A few times a year, I will pig out on potato chips because if I could, I would eat potato chips every day. And I can't because they're bad for you, first of all. Even the baked ones are. So a few times a year, I do fall down and eat potato chips. And I don't just eat one or one bag, and I may only buy one bag at a time, but I will make a trip to the grocery store just to buy another one. And then I get sick. I mean, it's really like, all that starch. I'm a diabetic. It makes you sick. I'll have to stop and, get real and start all over again. But otherwise, I eat pretty good. So and right now, winter is setting in, so we're back to water-based soups, which is actually very good for your health and losing weight. So, I'll give you that phrase that I use every single day. The weight is just falling off of me. You look marvelous in the mirror.
Okay, I'm going to the weight is falling off me. You look marvelous. I love it.
If nothing else, listen, it makes you feel good.
Well, I was noticing that you had taken off weight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't so much. My pants don't seem to fit any looser, but my face seems to be thinner.
Your face and like your across your shoulders.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I've lost like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I think you should celebrate every single pound.
Yes.
Yes, you lost 5 pounds. Awesome.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, okay, I just need 8 more pounds, and I'll be down to where I was 3 years ago. And then 9 more pounds. I'll be better than I've been in like 10 years. I'm like, yes, okay, I'm excited.
Well, I say I'm returning to my true soul body weight.
Okay.
The weight that's right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what Catherine was saying about a lot of foods that you think are not good for you actually are, and at certain times they are. And if your body tells you it wants something that you don't normally eat, then it's a good idea to eat it. Mm-hmm. Many years ago, because I was always into healthy foods, and to me, epitome of the absolutely worst piece of junk food you can eat. And I kept wanting a hot dog. But there's no way I'm going to buy a hot dog or anything. And this one night I'm coming back. I used to be involved in these circles. And I was in a really mellow mood, and without a word of a lie, I'm going past this place that sells hot dogs, and my hands grabbed the steering wheel of their own volition and turned in. I went in and I bought 2 hot dogs to go because I was too embarrassed to be seen eating in there. And I had this white top on, and I couldn't wait till I got home. I'm opening it up and I go, and like I'm appalled at myself. And of course I've got mustard and relish all over this blouse. But by the time I got home, I felt better than I had felt in a long time.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I bought my Oscar Mayer hot dogs, wieners or whatever they're called, last week or the week before, and I hadn't bought hot dogs in a couple of years at least. Like I am dying for my hot dog. And now that I had my hot dogs, I'm like, I'm done. No more.
Yeah, I think the strangest one I was craving for breakfast was cherries, preserved cherries, and wheat bran, which sounds like a really weird, and first of all, fruit doesn't agree with me in an empty stomach at all. And anyway, but I had it, and I tell you, I felt so good. And it kept me full right into lunchtime. No problem.
Nice.
certain times our body needs certain things, and if you listen, it'll lead it to. The same thing happened with coffee. I had given up on coffee for years, and I'm craving this coffee, and there's no way I'm going to sit in a coffee shop by myself and have a cup of coffee. And then this one day at the church, I had this terrible migraine headache, and some of the friends said, "Let's go for a coffee." I said, "Sure." And I drank the coffee, and within 20 minutes, the migraine headache was gone, and I didn't have any of the hangover that I have if I have a really bad migraine.
Mm.
There was no hangover for days afterwards. So this one, I can't remember her name right now. I'll put it on the site when I remember it. But she was saying that we really need to listen to our body and what it wants. Because what we think is good for us isn't necessarily good for us.
Yeah.
And a lot of the research that's being done now is really showing that. The latest thing that I've fallen in love with is cashew milk.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love it. As a matter of fact, I was just having my coffee with some cashew milk in it. And that's when I really, really like that. Or sometimes if I wake up in the night and I'm hungry, I've learned get up and eat something, or you're not going back to sleep. And a small half cup of this is fine, but I find I like it best when I warm it up at
Oh.
night. It's very filling for me. So I'm working on some other recipes along with that, because they use cashew a lot in a lot of the vegan foods and the raw food diets, where they make like this key lime pie made with cashews, and it's absolutely delicious. So it can be really exciting.
That's pretty good. You reminded me of Forbes Riley. She had fainted, and they put her in the hospital because she had got dehydrated and she wasn't eating right, whatever. And so when she got out, she decided she had to make a few changes, even though she looks healthy. But she apparently forgets to drink enough water, because I know you have to drink more water as you get older, because your body doesn't retain the water as well, and so you get dehydrated easier. But the other thing, she went to this doctor that did like a little blood pinprick and blood tests and whatnot. But they were talking about food, and I think he's like a raw vegan or something or another. But that aside, he talked about they studied people who live to be, like 100 or longer, and there was one particular thing of interest that a lot of people don't do, and it has to do with how many pieces of fruit you eat a day. Because I know that the nutritionists, what do they say, 6 to 8 pieces of fruit and vegetables a day, something like that. He said that a lot of them ate upwards of 28 pieces of fruit a day. And apparently they did a study on eating more fruit and what it does with your body. And even having white rice is considered acceptable. And so the more fruit you eat, even if you're diabetic, they did a study with diabetics who were borderline, over the top, really high numbers in their diabetics, and getting ready to go through kidney dialysis or something or another. And they did an experiment of having them increase their fruit intake for 30 days. And at the end of the 30-day period, those who had a lot more fruit every day, they didn't have to go on the kidney dialysis, and some of them even was able to stop taking insulin. So that's just putting it out there, just an FYI. I thought it was fascinating information. So I just wanted to share that since we were talking about diets and losing weight and eating healthier and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Dr. Oz show has been getting more and more remarkable all the time. He's putting in a lot of information there about, the one is the cheerleaders. That there are more accidents than all the other sports put together.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the kids are being forced into positions where they've suffered severe damage. So he's putting the word out on that and letting people know that they need to go in and check on the schools. And now he's openly bringing so much about pedophiles and different diets. And I just ordered a book. It might be here today. It should be here someday, called The Pape Diet. And it's from Italy. And apparently there's what they call blue zones. And I think there's 5 of them in the world. And those are the ones where people are the healthiest. And especially the men in Pape live over 100.
Wow.
But the men a lot. And the diet is sort of like a paleo diet. I don't know too yet because I just thought it sounds like the right way for me to eat, because I'm not looking for a diet. I'm looking for a way of permanently improving my system.
Yeah.
So I'll be very interested in seeing what that book has to say.
It's basically like, you're wanting to adopt a lifestyle system that is the best for your body and stuff. So that sounds pretty good. I'll be interested to see how you like the book.
Yeah. Well, I've had a few others I like, but I found so far those ones were to stick to. Because being one person living alone, I don't want to have to, well, the Lynn Ganay's book, her plan had you eating so many different types of things that by the time you got around to it the second time, you'd had it for a week or something. And I don't like food that isn't fresh. And so especially when the level of noise and everything in the building got to the point I found it too difficult to follow that anymore. But I did feel better when I was following hers. And she's got a lot of really, really, really wonderful recipes. So I'm incorporating part of that into it. But everybody's system is different. As different as our thumbprints. What works perfectly for me could make you really sick.
Right.
And vice versa. Because, well, that's what I found what really slowed me down on this book was because of the fact that I found out that most of the gluten-free recipes are not good for you at all. So, and that wasn't something that I had done any experimentation with, was crackers and bread and stuff like that. I just done without them, but I was getting fed up with it because it's so nice to be able to have a cracker or something and put some spread on it for a snack. And I was getting fed up with not being able to do that.
Yeah, it's not like you have to totally abstain or anything like that. You can always have it once in a while when you just can't stand it any longer, so that makes sense. But I was really surprised about the fruit thing because I was trying to avoid eating much in the way of fruit and focus more on the vegetable side. But I've increased my fruit intake.
I have to a point, but if I increase it much, I end up with ulcers in my tongue.
Oh, okay.
I don't do too well with a lot of fruit. But I use a lot of blackberries and black cherries and things like that.
Yeah,
you're sort of breaking up.
In it.
You're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. No, I think it probably has to do with maybe you eat more of the acidic type foods or fruit, and that probably causes some of your mouth ulcer issues.
Right. Yeah,
There's
I do
something
have
that my nutritionist told me. My diabetes, because I thought I was smarter than the average bear and I could not have to pay for all these drugs earlier this year, my diabetes went bad, real bad. Like when I finally went to the doctor, my A1C was over 13. My mom's A1C was 13 when she was dying, so that was bad. I'd never been above 7. So I've always been a controlled diabetic for 15 years. So the doctor sent me to a nutritionist, and I was quite shocked. I knew about low carbohydrate diets, I thought, but not really. Butter, real butter, not margarine, not the tub stuff, but real butter. Is okay to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually okay to eat. You know, I don't want to say as much as you want, because maybe you just want to, you know, gnaw on a stick. I don't mean that. But if I get hungry, if I can put butter on something and eat it, that will make me feel full, she said. And that does seem to work. I can't remember the name of the website, and I haven't ever bought anything from it because everything's is still financially out of my reach, but it won't always be. And his coffee with butter in it.
Yes.
So I made coffee here and put my own butter in it, and it doesn't really stir well, but I've done that when I am hungry and I don't want to eat.
It's better to
coffee.
blender and put it in the blender in emulsifier.
Cool it off.
It's better for you. Well, if you not if you're just blending it for, you know, a number of seconds to get everything together. I drink that coffee too.
Yeah, I've heard about that. You know, adding the butter. I tried a couple of years ago. You know, adding butter to the coffee and stuff, but I decided I like my milk better, or almond milk, whichever one I have on hand.
There's a free app called Calorie King, and it'll let you enter the word apple, and then you can pick the kind of apple. You can pick the size of the apple, and it'll tell you all the information about the apple. Pardon me, I'm not really looking for calories. If I have to count calories, I'll be in big trouble. But I like this idea of, you know, I don't know how much popcorn can I actually have, you know, because I want it. And I can eat it. I can eat popcorn.
Not the popcorn, it's what you put on it.
I can eat popcorn cooked in coconut oil and then butter poured on it, because I can have all those things. The butter's good. The coconut oil is good. The only really thing with a negative side to it is the popcorn. And I can still have 3 cups of cooked popcorn.
Oh, that's good.
The butter goes on.
If you're not allergic to corn, the corn isn't a problem.
It's a starch.
Starch, yeah.
It's a starch. So all starch turns to sugar. So for a diabetic, on your topic of fruit, a lot of diabetics say, oh, I can't eat fruit, it raises my sugar. I've always been a fan of fruit. And yeah, if you sit down and you eat 2 oranges and an apple, yeah, it's going to raise your sugar. But if you spread those out over a day, it may slightly raise your sugar, and then it comes right back down. Where if you ate the same amount of calories in candy or something else that's either full of sugar or full of starch, it spikes your sugar up really fast, and then you bottom out really fast and turn into a zombie, basically. So fruit, you know, just keeps you even keel. It's good for you if you're a diabetic.
Yeah, because it's not processed. So your body has to take a little time to digest it. Plus there's the fiber that's in there. So Yeah, I was really surprised when they said 28 pieces. I'm like, there is no way I can eat 28 pieces. And then I'm like, okay, so what constitutes a piece? You know, in my head. And I wasn't able to ask and find out what it was, but I would love to know, is it like the whole apple or is it like a half an apple? You know, what do they constitute pieces? Because I can't imagine eating 28 apples or oranges or
If the
bananas.
apple's very big, it's only half. And I can't remember the number, but the number of grapes is really low. You know, I once looked that up because I could sit and eat a bunch of grapes, and then all of a sudden my sugar spikes, and I don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a lot of grapes to call it. And now, you know, the grapes are so big, it's, you know, half of what it was. So, you know, like 8 grapes could be considered a serving.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's time to get healthy in time for the new year, right?
Yes.
We're coming into the new year. Some wonderful young ladies with much healthier body and outlook on life.
Mind and spirit also.
Yes, yes.
Body, mind, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Lucinda, you mentioned blue zones earlier.
Right.
Out of all of them, I don't know if there's 5 or 7. There's only one in the United States, and it's Loma Linda, California.
Right. I forget where in
Who,
California. I missed part of it.
I didn't hear you.
I missed part of it. I don't know where in California it is.
Loma Linda.
Oh, right.
Loma Linda is. I'm guessing that's Southern California.
It's on the map because I've looked to see where it's at. I'd like to visit there. I also would like to visit San Luis Obispo for totally opposite reasons. But they both seem fairly close, not like on the coast, but close to the coast. Loma Linda is, most of the people that live there are of, Latter-day Saints. What's the full name of that religion? Something of the Latter-day Saints or something like that.
Yeah.
And it is believed that they all live to be over 100, or the majority of them, because their diet, which is based in their religion, is very similar to, and their lifestyle, very similar to the other blue zones. They eat a lot of water-based soups. They eat meat at best 2-3 times a year. They don't smoke. They don't drink. And then the other thing is they move. So like the example that I always remember from the books, and I was going to run over there and get the books to give you this guy's name that writes all these books about blue zones. There's this 90 or 100-year-old man, and a lot of these places, they still sleep on mats on the floor. So they're alone. You got to be able to haul yourself up every day. That would be the end of me now, but they get up and they have to walk outside to pick their breakfast. And maybe for lunch, they will walk outside and up a little hill to get to another different vegetable garden. So it's not like they're out there going to the gym and, you know, busting their butt for 30 minutes or whatever. They're just constantly moving throughout the day. Mm-hmm. They keep moving. They eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. They don't do a lot of meat. Meat's like a special occasion kind of thing, a couple times a year.
Well, a lot has to do with mindset, because Puna teaches you how you feel about what you eat is more important than what you eat.
Yeah,
I buy that.
Sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I
So
looked where Loma Linda was, and it's right by San Bernardino, so it's about 2-hour drive to the ocean by LA, and then San Luis Obispo is right by the ocean. That's north of LA, but That's a nice area.
Yeah, I've heard San Luis Obispo is absolutely beautiful. I've also heard that there is no industry there. All of the people who live there work from home, like internet marketing businesses. That you can walk to a vegetable stand right down the street. They're all over the place, so that promotes a healthy living. Actually, I just lied. That's actually the Loma Linda place where you can walk to the vegetable stand. But I've heard that San Luis Obispo is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I've heard that Loma Linda is not so much.
Yeah, it's inland.
But I want to go there because I want to see people who can live to 100. Sort of what Lucinda said a while ago. I forgot the author she quoted, but and I can't remember the author that I'm about to quote.
Glenn Gannett, Dr. Oz. Don't remember mentioning too many other names. There's
I can't remember. I didn't know the name when you said it, and now I forgot what I was going to tell you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I forgot before you spoke, so all you really did is provide cover. So I'm going to mute myself again, and maybe that will come back. And let the person know who just woke up that I may have trashed the coffee maker, so his coffee is not ready. In my rush to get here on time, I filled the coffee with milk instead of water.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, this is a thermos bottle that a neighbor of mine, I gave him my computer, and he says, "Oh, I'll buy you a bottle of booze." And I said, "I don't want a bottle of booze." So he got me. I said, "I want a thermos bottle." So he got me this thermos bottle, and here's what I found. I don't too often drink more than 1 cup of coffee a day, but if you let it sit and then you heat it up, I always find I have to add sugar because it gets really bitter. But if you put it in here, it'll stay warm for almost 8 hours.
Hmm.
And the thing is, it doesn't get bitter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So that's what I think this is one of the nicest things I've had is this thermos bottle.
That's good.
It's just a nice to hold it, and then I can have a second cup of coffee.
That's cool.
But mine has this has cashew milk in it.
Uh-huh.
And it has coconut oil and butter. And today I put a bit of sugar in. I don't quite often. I find I'm quite happy without any sugar in it at all. Today I wanted a bit of sugar. But speaking of that as well, like I found oatmeal or some grains in a cereal, then half an hour I'm hungry. But if I put a teaspoon of oil in it and stir it around after it's cooked, it's filling.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that works with quite a few things. That and for myself, bacon is really good for me.
Oh, I love bacon. I love bacon.
It's not eating huge quantities of it, but if I have bacon, not every single day, but if I have bacon with my eggs, I actually quite often forget to eat on time because I'm still full.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to hear about Catherine's stores, her Shopify stores. See how it's going. I have my phone go off at certain times of the day so that it reminds me that I'm a beautiful, confident creator. And then I have another one, you know, that like it's bold, vibrant, and fun. And then I forget what the other one is. And so Brendan Burchard gave that tip. I don't know if I talked about that or not with y'all. I know I did with Sharon and Ann, but I'm not sure if I did it in this group or not. to where you can send yourself messages on your phone. You know, it's kind of like an alarm clock, but you put a label on it instead, you know, at certain times of the day, so that it's nice to be reminded, you know, and to look at it like, oh yes, I am bold, I am vibrant, I am fun, you know, or whatever it is that you want to remind yourself of. It's fun. I've enjoyed that. I should put more reminders.
You are one of the boldest, most vibrant, fun people I know.
Oh, well, I want to be more so, because I feel like I can improve a lot in that area. So that's why I put it down there, and that's why I want people to think of me as being that way. So, Catherine, how's your stores going?
I have not done anything at all toward anything that's online.
Okay.
Moving was really a big deal.
It's a lot of work.
And actually, last night I got the last things hung on the wall. At least there's actually still a few things at the other house that need to be hung somewhere here. But for the most part, this house is done. About the time that happened, though, my dad fell and went to the hospital. He had several fractures on his hips. Then he went into a nursing home. And now he's about to come home. So I've been taking care of his dog at his house. His dog is 21 years old. Dogs don't live that long.
What type of dog is it?
His father was a half lab and half Dalmatian. Was the ugliest dog I've ever seen, and I'm a dog person. I've never seen an ugly dog. This dog had the big bulky body of the lab, but it had the coloring of a Dalmatian. It was a white dog with black smears on it. Looked like somebody put a stencil over him and then sprayed black on the dots to get the dots to show up. And then before removing the stencil, went and it smeared them. It was just an ugly dog. And it was a huge dog. And the mom was a cockapoo. She was a little bitty dog. She had 8 puppies. And the lady I worked with, I had a lab mix. Her name was Rudy, and she was 1 year old. And my dad thought Rudy needed a friend. Truth be told, Rudy didn't really need a friend. I got Rudy when she was 3 weeks old. When Rudy died 15 years later, she thought I was her mom still. So Rudy never really cared for Cody. But we went and got him anyway. That's what my dad thought I should do. And we got her because got him, Cody's and him. The mother had 8 puppies, and they were all as big as her. And she came home from work one day, and the mother pulled herself out of the doghouse with her back of her dragging on the ground. She picked the dog up and ran it to the animal hospital. And the puppies were just nursing all the protein and whatever keeps your body going out of her. So they said, we can save her, we can get her back, but when she goes home, them puppies got to be gone. So they were all about 5 weeks old, or almost 5 weeks old at that point. So that's where Cody came from. And then I had a German Shepherd, a full-blooded, long-haired Shepherd, who showed up at my house and wouldn't leave. And I did not need another dog. But my daughter thought I did. So we adopted that dog's name. That was a male, but his name was Gabby, spelled Gabe. And one day, if you have dogs, they go everywhere with you. They follow you all over the place. And I was running down the hallway. My mom was there. And I tripped over these 3 dogs. I didn't hit the floor. I grabbed myself on the wall. And I screamed. Two's a house fall, three's a herd. And my mom said, I'd really like to have Cody. I never bonded with Cody, which is quite unusual. I bond with animals much quicker than even people, but I hadn't with Cody. My mom would get so mad at me, I'd lay on the floor and I'd talk to them, down on my belly, so I'm at their level. And Rudy, her mix was chow, lab and chow. She had this tongue that curled up. I always thought maybe that was the chow. And she had this way of sticking it right underneath your lip when you'd say, give me kisses, and that little tongue would go there. And then I would play with Cody on the ground, and I would tell him he was dumb as a box of rocks. And my mom would get really mad at me, and I explained to her, he doesn't know English. It's the same tone of voice. I'm telling Rudy how much I love her. I'm telling Cody you're dumb as a box of rocks. So I had bonded with Gabby. So at that point, I told my mom, you can have him. And it took her a few weeks. She said, no, I want you to think about it. There's something really to think about here. You can have Cody. So my mom ended up taking Cody. And my mom passed away 4 years ago. And when she passed away, my dad took Cody. So now Cody is 21 years old. And he has the body of a Dalmatian. He's all black. He's got some white here. His body shape is Dalmatian, but his body is only like a couple feet long. And his back probably stands 18 inches tall without the head. So he's not big like the lab, and he's not big like the Dalmatian. He's more little like the cockapoo. But he's still alive. He has issues. He's deaf. I don't believe he sees all that well. But he knows things like a deaf person. He feels the vibration on the floor. He knows what's going on. He does what's called sleep pooping. So he starts to go to the bathroom and he'll poop, and then it wakes him up, and then he has to try and get to the back door. He has a big dog door. So he's been living alone over there since my dad was in the nursing home, but he's about to come out. And
you see him.
Yes, he will be. He's a good little old dog. I always say my dogs live forever. Rudy was lab. She lived for almost 16 years. Gabby, at the end, though, Gabby died in the vet's office. He was only 10. But until German Shepherds, maybe 12 years. But Code Dog, he's at 21. I even went, I think the last year, to the vet and had him check his records. I want to know when I brought him here first time, because he just can't be 19, 20 years old, which is what we thought at the time, and he was. So his birthday is my daughter's birthday, so that's easy to remember. So he turned 21 September 28th.
Wow.
Old dog.
That is old. There aren't too many of them that live that long, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, we've had quite
doing. I don't know that I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to go back to be honest.
We'd go back to as far as the stores?
Yeah. If I go back to anything at all, it will be Shopify. At the moment, like we were talking before you turned the recorder on, my focus is me and making sure that I'm going to be okay health-wise and mentally and spiritually. So my focus at the moment is really me. I understand that Vic is talking about Bitcoin, and I have paid absolutely no attention to that. I am still a paid member, but I'm not overjoyed with a lot of things that are going on. Sharon has tried to get me involved in Bitcoin, and I haven't been, just because I really don't have the funds to invest in it.
Right.
So it seemed like a waste of my time. There is somebody, though, who recently asked me where to make an investment. So I have started that process of trying to understand what Bitcoin is about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility. I don't know for sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay me as number one and get that solved. And I did log on to Shopify the other day and see where I was at. I may very likely go back to that, but I'm not doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to move. I needed to get things set up. I did that. I went from a teeny weeny kitchen to a kitchen with 35 cabinets.
Wow.
Had stuff stored in a garage at my house. So it was like, like not even knowing I had some of this stuff anymore. So, I had 35 cabinets to fill up. That took a while. Rearranging. Oh, no, that should have been over here. And it was great fun. All that's done. My office is set up. So I have an awesome view. But to answer the question, I don't know for sure. But I'll know soon. I will look at Bitcoin and try and understand it. And if I go back to anything, it will be Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I'm going to get involved in anything else. I don't know. I'm not happy with 4%. I'm not happy with Techademics. I will say this, I have reached out to people that I know are successful with Bitcoin. And one of the things that I was told was do not invest in this through any organization. Go out and buy it on your own, put it in your own wallet, and watch it grow.
Right.
Because when these other organizations fold, you lose your investment. It's not.
And do not.
What?
Do not invest any more than you can afford to lose.
True, that's any investment.
Yeah. But she's talking about in like these MLM type companies and whatever companies that not to invest in those, but to pick up the Bitcoin on your own. And mining is actually a good thing to do.
He said the same thing.
But that's about as far as I go on knowledge.
Well, I'm planning on starting to invest in silver in a small way, silver coins, because I don't have a lot of money, so I'll just pick up one every now and then for the time being. But there's a good chance that these are all going to drop in price.
Yeah.
Wait until they drop in price.
Well, Vic had mentioned, I'm kind of sort of still following Vic, but just not every time, for every webinar or anything else like that. But he did mention that there's talk of expectations that Bitcoin very well might have a drop this month in value, and that would be the best time to get it. Yeah. But it's hard to assess when that's going to be, and then if it does drop, is that going to be the lowest, or are you going to have it? What kind of window is there going to be able to pick it up at that lower price, and how quickly is it going to go up, and it's just like trying to time it right. I've kind of given up on trying to time it right, because it's going to all work out in the end. But I'm really glad that you've decided to focus on yourself, Catherine, because focusing just on yourself before you work on your business or anything else like that just kind of helps you gain more clarity on what it is that you truly want in life, you know, with better health, you know, a better mindset, you know, having a more positive outlook and all that kind of stuff makes a huge difference when you're working towards your business.
I can't remember who it was, and I've tried to find them. I don't remember if it's a printed book that I have or an audio book. But somebody said, I didn't make this up, and I think it was a female author, but I don't remember who it was. If you're working on yourself, in the end, you will end up, if you're, you know, progressing and
right,
not going, you know, into the negative thing, you're going to end up where you need to be that's best for you.
Right.
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 Because I was all these decisions about what to do and where do I go and what do I do and where do I put money and then. And that hit me. I tried to find where I read this at because I'd like to go read the whole thing again.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it. I'd even tried Googling those words thinking somebody's name would come up. But that's what got me on this path. You know what? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I need a lot of work. Body, mind, and soul. So work on me. You can't go wrong there. No matter what happens in the end, you are better. I weigh less. There's better things going on in my mind, body, mind, and soul. So that's the goal. And I had no intention of looking into Bitcoin and all. But one of the things Ted said was that one coin in 1 year could be worth $50,000 to $100,000.
Yeah.
Sharon said that they're about $6,000 right now. I haven't looked into it. The other thing that you didn't mention, everything you mentioned is on this note I took when we were on the phone.
Uh-huh.
He also said to look into a RISE account.
A RISE?
RISE. I wrote down RISE. I don't know what that means. I just talked to him late last night, so I haven't followed through on any of this yet. He said that it is 2 to 3% compounded monthly. So he said that's different than like 2 to 3% on a yearly annuity.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously much better than the 1/2 of 1% that you get at the bank. He said, because he knows I was looking for somebody who asked me how to invest a small amount of money. And if anybody's interested, he gave me some links. One of them is to a publicly traded company with a AAA rating at the Better Business Bureau. They've only been in business for 3 years. But the big thing, the other thing he said, block account. I don't know what that means yet either.
Blockchain?
What?
Blockchain account for the wallet.
Okay.
There's coin. Let's see, what is it called? Coinbase.com and then blockchain.com. Coinbase doesn't have any referral things. The blockchain apparently does have a referral business or referral, you know, where you can get a little bit of referral income, but I'm not I haven't signed up for it, but I just know that it exists.
But these would both still be buying your Bitcoin
directly
yourself and putting it in your own wallet.
They're to set up your own wallet. And both of them are free to sign up. I signed up with the Coinbase, and I don't know if blockchain shows this, but on the Coinbase, it shows the value of Bitcoin and then Ethereum and Litecoin. Apparently, those are the 3 prominent digital coins. And like right now, Bitcoin is down to 6,700, 6,775. So it's down 420 since last week, but it fluctuates a lot throughout the day. So
I have a question.
What?
I've never been an investor. I pay into a 401k and let somebody who I think is smarter than me figure out where to put my money.
Right.
So I don't have a huge knowledge base. I'm trying to understand why Bitcoin is such a great investment. So and you can interrupt me anytime you think you have answers. I understand. I get the fact that I'm going to be able to use it to buy anything online, and that now I can actually use it. I guess if I had a card, I could go to Macy's and buy a shirt. I get that concept. What I don't understand then is how can I buy a coin? But bring this down to something that we should be able to figure out, like $1. How do I buy $1 and that dollar be worth 50 in a year? I don't understand that.
Okay, the blockchain and the Coinbase wallets, you can put in money through your credit card or checking account or anything through your dollars. So you put it into the wallet that holds like the American money or whatever kind of money that you have. I'm guessing that it's whatever currency you have, and then you take that money that you deposited in there, and that's what you buy your Bitcoin or your Litecoin or your Ethereum coin with.
Why is this entity going to be worth so much money down the line quickly?
Okay, well, the way they say it's not going to increase the number of Bitcoins that are going to be available. So it's like a scarcity, at some point, to where all the Bitcoins will have been bought, and so people will be buying and selling Bitcoins, and that's what makes it go up. Just like in the stock market.
Okay. Well, maybe we can talk about this at another time, and I'll know a little more, maybe you'll know a little more, and I know Sharon's looking at it, and we can share the information we have. I need to go do my self-education that Ted told me to do, and then anytime after Saturday, I can schedule another appointment with him. He's got a baby shower on Saturday that's kind of got his house tied up. But then he said he'd meet with me and Sharon, and anytime we wanted, and help us to understand what he's doing. And he's earning, and I didn't ask him how. I thought about it, but I thought I'd wait and see if I could go figure this out better. So I asked more intelligent questions. But he said, I asked him straight up, how much do you earn a month? And he said he's earning between $10,000 and $20,000 a month.
With Bitcoin?
Yes.
Wow.
He's been involved in it for over a year. He said that one coin, if I had one coin, he would believe that I would earn at least $500 by the end of the year. And he said $4,500 would not be unheard of or unbelievable.
Wow.
And I'm still confused about where. I think it does. I think you are right in that it does have to do with, like, it's the same concept as the stock market. And since I don't really understand that, I think that's my problem with understanding investing in Bitcoin.
Currencies as well, like the dollar. The value of the dollar fluctuates. Just like and like the yen and the German mark and all the different currencies in the world, people buy and sell the value of the currencies because they estimate where it's going to be. but those are kind of like, small little dips and increases and stuff. The Bitcoin is a totally different animal, but it's still a similar concept.
Well, next time we meet and we have time, we'll see where we're at, and maybe Sharon and I will be volume of information at that point.
I just need cash.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't be doing this just for myself, because it would be a waste of time right now.
Mm-hmm.
But there is somebody else I'm doing it for, so that's kind of a bonus. Maybe I can help him and learn about something that will ultimately help me too.
True. Very true. Well, that sounds good. Lucinda, did you have anything else you wanted to share before we go?
I don't think so at this point. It's time to absorb everything we've learned.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And
one other thing I wanted to say is, Catherine, you're just glowing.
Thank you so much. I should also tell you, you look very nice today.
Thank you.
We're all happy. I like it.
All beautiful.
Well, I'm hoping to have my coaching business launched by the time that we meet again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hopefully, and I know I'll learn a lot next week when I go to Brendan's speaking event. Learning how to become a public speaker. But first I have to craft my message where I spit it out easily that people understand.
Good luck. Okay, positive vibes coming at you.
Yeah.
I'm receiving.
Yes, yes. You'll do fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward. I was every few days or every other day, I suddenly get nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I fall on my face? And then I'm like, wait a minute. You're good. You know what you're talking about, and you just need to craft your message so that you're more clear. And then I realized, wait a minute, I just need to talk about it more so that I can get clear, so that it makes sense once it's all put together.
Yes, and be sure to breathe.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Somebody was mentioning, when you are speaking to groups, a lot of times you're nervous. So your breathing tends to come from the upper part of your lungs and chest.
Right.
And so that is more like a fright or flight mode type of breathing. But if you breathe from your diaphragm lower down, that it's a more calming influence. And so that it makes it easier when you're speaking in front of people.
Yes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths before you speak.
Right. Yeah.
And if you ever want to practice, I'd be happy, and I bet you everybody else would, to set up one of these Google Hangout things, and we'll come and be your audience.
Okay. I like that.
I would do that.
Me too.
I like that.
In addition to helping you, then I might learn something new.
True.
So how awesome is that?
That would be very cool. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I think we're done for today. Thank you so much for coming. And I really enjoyed what we talked about. And I think we all kind of put a pause on the.
Because I'm all about that bass, no trouble.
I love and appreciated you. I love these notifications. Do y'all know how to do these?
No.
I don't have a phone.
Two?
Yes.
Okay. So you go to your alarm clock.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you want to add a new one. So the plus sign if it's an Apple. I'm not sure how it works on the Android. But you want to add a new alarm. But what it is, instead of alarm, like for on the iPhone, it says label.
Yeah.
So you want to find the label, and then and change it from alarm. It says alarm, and then what you want to do is put whatever it is that you want to type. You know how you said you have all the phrases throughout your house? You know, you can enter some of your favorite ones right in here. Like if you want to identify yourself of being, you know, happy or bouncy or whatever. I'm frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen, but we can hear your voice.
Yeah. So so you want to do that, and then you save it. Well, set your time, whatever time you want it at, and then save it, and then keep it, and and then put that you want it every single day, check off every single day, and it will let you, it will, and choose whatever music or sound that you want to use for it, something that perks you up, whatever it is, and save it, and then it'll go off for you every day. And you can do it like five times a day and have different expressions in there, whatever it is that you want.
I got it. I didn't know anything about changing the alarm. You talked about this one time, and I spent 2 seconds trying to figure it out. And I thought, nah, I don't know how to do it. But I got to the part where it says alarm, so I know how I can change it now.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
It's fun. I like it.
I like it too.
I'm actually going to get a cell phone next year.
Oh, you don't have one?
No. I personally don't want one.
You don't want one? How come?
No. Well, people spend too much time on the phone.
Well, you don't have to spend that much time on the phone. I'm not really big into using my phone like, you know, like a lot of people do. Even my son, he conducts most of his personal business or communication through his phone, texting and whatnot. I use mine more for the basics. I have a fancy phone for the basics.
Oh,
I use mine to listen to books is what most of mine gets used for, is I download books from Audible onto an iPhone. And that way I can take a book with me everywhere I go, and I listen to books all day long. I have friends who text, so I have learned how to talk with my thumbs. But I'm not a woman of few words, so this whole texting thing, I find frustrating.
Yeah, I'm a slow texter. I've discovered that I'm starting to like using the microphone, you know, when instead of typing out the letters and stuff, just do the microphone, and then just do an edit here and there when you want to add the periods and stuff like that, because I don't know how to speak and add the periods yet without doing it.
is that any kind of cell phone? I didn't know you had that. That interests me more.
Yeah, I think so. I know it is with the iPhone, but I'm pretty sure it's with any phone.
Oh, because a lot of the people I know seem to really like Samsung.
Yeah.
But like with my son out west, I use the Google chat. And so we can see one another and speak to one another. And it's just almost like he's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they have it on the phone, then that would make another reason why I would want to get one.
Yeah, no, you can do FaceTime on your cell phone in case you're not home. You can do the FaceTime in case you want to talk to your son.
Oh.
That's awesome. My sister does FaceTime with her daughter and her daughter's 3 children, so I can see them because they live in Ohio.
Oh. Okay, so that brings it more reason to get one.
I still am a fan of getting rid of this whole texting thing. or there should at least be a limit. You can only text somebody once a week, you know. I'm not a fan of the whole texting thing, but my daughter mentioned the vocal thing the other day. I never even stopped to try and figure it out. But because I'm not a woman of short amount of words, you know, I text these long things. And then I yelled at my daughter because I said, fix your voicemail. She only one voicemail. That's why it's full. I said, you're a manager. You have employees. They should be able to leave you a message. And more importantly, I should.
I know my daughters like text me. That way you don't have to deal with the voice message.
Well, I think that, you know, we went from Morse code and we created the telegraph, and then we went to Ma Bell, and now we have this whole cell phone thing going on. It seems to me like texting has gone the wrong way. You know, back to Morse code and typing with your fingers. Mm-hmm. Texting has just gone the wrong way. Going back in time. Well, I just noticed we're still live and I'm jabbering. I thought you had already closed it off. So I'm going to shut up so you can close it off.
Oh, okay.